just like that, the Kang dynasty has come to an end. Jonathan Majors has been found guilty of assault in the 3rd degree and harassment.
Now that Jonathan Majors' trial is over, what is the rescue plan as a community for Meagan Good? Like, as a sisterhood, how are we gonna come together and rescue Meagan? Because she has been with this man this whole entire trial.
Y'all, so Meagan Good is down bad, looking real crazy on social media after her boo thing Jonathan Majors was found guilty on some DV charges, and he is facing some pretty serious prison time. Well, the streets are now saying that Meagan has jumped ship and dumped Jonathan like a hot potato because she needs to save herself first. And listen, Jonathan is going through it because he is getting dropped left and right, and it looks like he might be going broke, y'all. And there's a lot going on because the drama is absolutely crazy.
Jonathan Majors has just been fired from Disney and Marvel due to him being found guilty of basically harming his girlfriend. I ain't gonna count. Seemed like they had this paper written up. They was just waiting to sign that bit the minute the verdict came out.
Now, Jonathan Majors started the year out as one of the most loved actors in Hollywood, and he had everyone eating out of the palm of his hand. He was basically Hollywood's sweetheart, and millions of people were rooting for him because he was just a stand-up guy, so we thought. He had appeared in major movies like Creed 3 alongside his BFF Michael B. Jordan, and things were only getting better for him because he had landed the role of Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel comic universe. Now, if y'all know anything about MCU, then you know that the major actors usually make an insane amount of money from the movies because they get some of the highest paychecks in the industry. And considering the fact that Kang the Conqueror was set up to be the next big villain in the MCU, Jonathan was set up to rake a whole lot of money. Now listen, there were even reports that he was set to be paid $20 million for the upcoming movie Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, which was previously planned to be released in 2026. So like I said, he had one of the most promising careers in Hollywood. However, things came crashing down for him in March of this year when he was arrested on some alleged DV charges for putting his hands on his girlfriend at the time, Grace Jabari. According to TMZ, Jonathan and Grace were in a taxi on their way home from a Brooklyn bar when she noticed that he was getting texts from another woman. This led to an argument in the back of the taxi. TMZ reported this got Majors mad and that he allegedly grabbed her hand and allegedly slapped her. We're also told the alleged victim claims he put his hands around her neck during this. Our sources tell us the alleged victim had visible injuries, including a laceration behind her ear, redness, and marks to her face. She was taken to an area hospital and is in stable condition. Now, the police were called and the matter immediately blew up into a scandal and people were shocked. Like I said before, Jonathan had a great reputation as a great stand-up guy, so the reports of him putting hands on his girlfriend were shocking to say the least. But Jonathan was arrested and booked, but he got released the same day after a judge released him on his own recognizance and granted a limited order of protection. What this basically means is that there was a restraining order in place that stopped him from trying to contact Grace for any reason. However, the situation quickly got shady when police sources revealed that Jonathan was actually the one who called 911 and not Grace, as everyone assumed. According to the police sources, Majors called 911 himself to report his concern about his girlfriend with whom he lives. When police arrived, sources say the girlfriend told a different story, that she and Majors were in a cab on the way home from Brooklyn when he physically attacked her. Patrol officers noticed marks on the woman's body and they placed Majors under arrest. Majors was charged with strangulation, assault, and harassment. Now, this kind of threw us off for a bit because why on earth would Jonathan call the police when he was the guilty party? Well, some people started to speculate that he might actually be innocent, but others believe that he was employing classic Darvo tactics. Now, for those of y'all who don't know what Darvo means, it's basically a tactic where an abuser tries to paint his victim as the abuser and paints himself as the victim, basically trying to reverse the roles. So people were basically talking about how he was trying to paint Grace as the villain and that he was the victim. Now, before y'all come for me, I'm not trying to say that Jonathan is guilty or say that he's a bad guy. I'm just trying to let y'all know what the streets are saying about Jonathan at the same time, okay? Don't come for me. I'm just telling y'all what these reports are saying, okay? But anywho, Jonathan immediately made some smart moves by hiring a lawyer to deal with this mess that he found himself in, and he only communicated through his lawyer. He never made any direct comments or statements about the situation to the press, which was another smart decision because y'all know how a statement taken out of context can make him look even worse. But anywho, his lawyer released a statement on his behalf where she claimed that he was innocent and that he had some convincing evidence that would prove that he was innocent of all the allegations that had been brought against him. She said, Jonathan Majors is completely innocent and is probably the victim of an altercation with a woman he knows. We are quickly gathering and presenting evidence to the district attorney with the expectation that all charges will be dropped imminently. This evidence includes video footage from the vehicle where this episode took place, witness testimony from the driver and others who both saw and heard the episode, and most importantly, the two written statements from the woman recanting these allegations. She continued, all the evidence proves that Mr. Majors is entirely innocent and did not assault her whatsoever. Unfortunately, this incident came about because this woman was having an emotional crisis, for which she was taken to a hospital yesterday. The NYPD is required to make an arrest in these situations, and this is the only reason Mr. Majors was arrested. We expect these charges to be dropped soon. Well, she made it out to be a minor misunderstanding that would be cleared up ASAP, but unfortunately, things didn't quite work out this way because the situation quickly got worse for him. It started when a couple of people who had worked with Jonathan came out to claim that he had a violent past and was known for putting his hands on people. They claimed that this good guy personality was just a facade that he was using to deceive people and advance himself in the industry. The first person was a filmmaker named A.B. Allen, who tweeted, there's a particular actor relatively new on the scene who Twitter has violently fallen head over heels for. In actuality, is a vicious, cruel, human being, both professionally and in his personal life. And every new viral thirst tweet about him drives me insane. Now, the first tweet was about a month before the allegations of DV against Jonathan, and Allen didn't really go into details about who he was talking about. But when Jonathan got exposed, someone went back to quote Allen's tweet saying, now we know who this tweet was about. And Allen confirmed it by saying, ding ding ding. The fact that Allen made this allegation before Jonathan was exposed had people wondering if Jonathan had really been fooling us this entire time with his good guy personality. But it wasn't long before someone else spoke about Jonathan. The other person was Tim Nicolai, who worked with Jonathan on Broadway. Tim had a more direct approach to things that he tweeted. I'm just gonna say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. Folks at Yale and the broader NYC community have known about him for years. He's a sociopath and a and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. Now, at the time, Jonathan still maintained his innocence and his lawyer was insistent with the whole thing, that it was just one big misunderstanding and it would be sorted out pretty soon. But it was clear that his sponsors had different ideas because they started to grow cold feet and they started to distance themselves from him and his drama. The U.S. Army dropped him as an ambassador, saying, the U.S. Army is aware of the arrest of Jonathan Majors and we are deeply concerned by the allegations surrounding his arrest. We recently released 2 ads in which Mr. Majors appears. While Mr. Majors is innocent until proven guilty, prudence dictates that we will pull our ads until the investigation into these allegations is complete. At this point, Jonathan was desperate to clear his name, so his lawyer released a screenshot of text messages between him and Grace that were supposedly supposed to clear his name and let everyone know that it was just a misunderstanding. In the text, Grace wrote, please tell me you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as a protocol when they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. I'm so angry that they did. I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of the hospital. Just call me when you're out. I love you. She also wrote, they just called again to check on me and I reiterated how this was not an attack and they do not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation and I said point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She inserted this to me. I know you have the best team and there's nothing to worry about. I just want you to know that I'm doing all I can on my end. I also said to tell the judge to know the origin of the call had to do with me collapsing and passing out and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior, out of care. She promised promise all will be relayed. Y'all, this should have just stayed in the drafts because it only made Jonathan look worse. Fans were talking about how the text made Grace look like a textbook victim because she was blaming herself for him allegedly putting hands on her, which is something that we see a lot with victims. Yeah, his public image was in the pits and he needed something to make himself look good in public because he desperately needed people to be on his side because he was losing a lot of money and endorsements. The next thing we knew, this video of him started going around where he was breaking up a fight between high schoolers. Y'all, this was supposed to make people look at him like a good guy for doing the right thing and breaking up a fight between kids. But this didn't work at all because it was clear to everyone that the video was extra staged. Like, don't play games, y'all, come on. He got clowned for this move and this made us realize just how desperate Jonathan was for some good publicity. But when that didn't work, he decided to take things a step further. And the next thing we knew, he stepped out with actress Meagan Good as his new boo. Now this was an interesting twist because we didn't even know that Meagan and Jonathan knew each other. It was like one moment Grace and Jonathan were in a relationship and the next moment he was dating Meagan. Now the timeline of the relationship was a little bit sus because he stepped out with Meagan less than 2 months after he got arrested on DV charges. So either Meagan chose to have a relationship with the man who had DV allegations or it was just a PR relationship. Well, people immediately jumped to the conclusion that it was a PR relationship and it was kind of weird. According to TMZ, over the course of the last several weeks, Jonathan and Meagan have gotten close, and the relationship is fairly new. They tried to play out the relationship as great, but a lot of people thought they were seeing through it from the start because the relationship wasn't coming off natural to them. Eyewitnesses reported to TMZ that they were spotted on a movie date at the Alamo Draft House in LA, which meant that they were not bothered with trying to keep things private or low-key. This felt kind of weird because both Jonathan and Meagan are just not the type to flaunt their relationships publicly, but hey, I guess people change or whatever. Well, Jonathan and Meagan were doing way too much with their relationship, and it further convinces that they might be just doing it for PR reasons. Now, fans couldn't help but talk about how this was a major downgrade from Devon Franklin. There were so many comments about how wild it was that she went from being married to Devon to being linked to a man who was facing DV charges. Yep, that's how quickly life comes at you, and these fans will change their minds about you. But then the streets started talking about how Jonathan wasn't the only one who had something to gain from this PR relationship, because people were talking about how she needed the boost that would come from Jonathan being cleared of the DV charges. See, Meagan hasn't really been active on the dating scene since she and her ex-husband Devon Franklin announced their divorce on Instagram, saying, "After much prayer and consideration, we have decided to go into our future separately, but forever connected. We celebrate almost a decade of marriage together and a love that is eternal. We believe this is the next best chapter in the evolution of our love. We are incredibly grateful for the life-changing years we've spent together as husband and wife." Now, Meagan kept her private life on the low after that, but nobody could deny that she had definitely had a divorce glow up because she was looking good after that. But in April 2022, there were rumors that she had started dating Disaster, who was also her workout buddy. According to multiple news outlets, Meg and battle rapper Disaster are reportedly dating. The two started off as workout partners in the Los Angeles area, but now people close to both Meg and Disaster believe that the two are dating. The rumors got stronger when Disaster posted these pictures of him and Megan chilling and hanging out, and people kept talking about how cozy they looked. He kind of confirmed these rumors, saying, "Twitter people, how mad are you on a scale of 1 to infinity?" Now, at the time, people thought this was probably a PR relationship and Megan was just trying to get people talking about her, but it didn't work. So the fake relationship kind of died down after that, until she and Jonathan Majors sparked the dating rumors. But like I said, people were not buying this relationship because they were saying that it all had the makings of a Hollywood PR relationship, especially because Jonathan was a hot stinking mess at the time. I mean, he was facing 3 counts of attempted assault as well as assault, 1 count of aggravated harassment, and a separate count of harassment. According to a source, the first 3 charges are misdemeanor offenses and related to alleged incidents in the car. The 4th charge of which is a violation, the most minor offense among the charges, relates to an allegation that Majors threw Jabari back into the car as she tried to exit. The defense argued that he placed her back in the car to stop her from running into traffic. Now y'all know how his lawyer insisted that this was just one big misunderstanding and that it will be all cleared up ASAP. Well, things definitely didn't do that, because he had a hearing on May 8th where his lawyers hoped that the charges would be dropped, but all 4 charges upheld, which meant that the case was definitely going to trial. Now things were very bad for Jonathan, so he and his PR team decided to kick things up a notch by hinting that he and Meagan had secretly gotten married. Now they didn't come out to say this directly or make a wedding announcement, but they went everywhere together, and Meagan even often referred to him as babe. Then they went to an event together where Jonathan referred to her as the missus, sparking rumors that they had secretly gotten married.
I'm just happy to be here, and I love y'all. So, baby, you wanna say anything? I put you on the spot.
Y'all heard the missus, so that's what it is.
Now her calling him babe was cute and all, but him calling her the missus was what finally sealed the deal for everyone. And in case you need any more information and confirmation, the editor-in-chief of Hip Hop Inquirer and award-winning journalist Dennis Byron, who also reported on the Jonathan Majors case, also tweeted, "Meagan Good Majors, congratulations." Well, Jonathan's PR team continued to work in overtime, and we started hearing rumors about how the prosecuting attorneys in the case had found some incriminating evidence against Grace to show that Grace had been lying against Jonathan the whole time. The rumor mill was talking about how there was some supposed evidence to prove that Grace was the aggressor the whole time and that she was the one who had been abusing Jonathan. Several sources reported that Grace was going to face charges of assault. Radar Online claimed that Grace was reportedly issued a summons to appear in New York to receive the assault charge. Other sources also revealed that Majors and his attorney have denied the DV accusations against the actor. They also claim that Majors was the victim because Grace scratched and hit him during the dispute. But then these rumors were quickly disproved when several authorities in charge of the case came out to deny that the charges were going to be brought against Grace, and they asked people to disregard the rumors. Now y'all know how I said that people accused Jonathan of Darvo? Well, this kind of made the accusations worse for Jonathan because people were accusing him of playing dirty. Well, then the case eventually went to trial about 2 weeks ago, and Meagan was right there sticking beside her man, playing the perfect ride or die for him. She went with him to all his court appearances, put her entire world on hold to be by her man, and they were often spotted hand in hand going to court and coming out of the courtroom. There were high hopes that he was going to be found not guilty by the court because there was some evidence that suggested that he might be guilty of the allegations that were made against him. For example, there was this video that went viral during the trial that showed Jonathan running away from Grace, and it had fans talking about how Jonathan was the innocent one. It looked like he was trying his best to run away from a crazy lady, but she wouldn't let him leave and she chased him through the streets. But on the other hand, there's these text messages between them that got released as evidence in court. And honestly, it made Jonathan look bad again. In the text, he said, "And you have. I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something." Grace then replied, "I will tell the doctor I bumped my head if I go. I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? I feel like you want to be together as in not to embarrass yourself for everything you've said to your friends and family." Jonathan then said, "Last night, I considered unaliving myself versus coming home. You said you needed love last night and I put my feelings aside and tried to give you that. I need love too. Or maybe I'm such a monster and a horrible man that I don't deserve it and should just unalive myself. This way of existence is miserable." Now these tweets swayed the public opinion against him because it kind of looked like he had put hands on Grace until she was physically hurt so badly that she needed painkillers to sleep. But even the painkillers didn't work. She was in so much pain that she needed some painkillers, but Jonathan didn't want her to go to the hospital because he was scared that the doctors would call the cops on him. Now Grace even said that she was going to lie and cover up for him, but he was still too paranoid that they were going to go and see through the lie and call the cops on him him still. Oh, and don't even get us started on the part where he called himself a monster and talked about unaliving himself, because this made people feel all sorts of ways about him. A lot of people saw it as him trying to guilt her into covering up for him and enduring the pain for a while longer. It was a hot mess, and Jonathan desperately needed a win in this case, because apart from the fact that he was getting a lot of negative publicity from the case, he was also losing a lot of money because brands were dropping him left and right. According to Variety, since his arrest, Majors has been dropped by his talent manager Entertainment 360 and his publicity firm The Lead Company. He's no longer involved with the Protagonist Pictures film The Man in My Basement. The U.S. Army also pulled a major ad campaign featuring Majors, as did the Texas Rangers baseball team. Several other projects involving Majors, including Spike Lee's The Understudy for Amazon and the Dennis Rodman film 48 Hours in Vegas for Lionsgate, remain in limbo. So yeah, he needed this win in this case because he had a lot riding on it. There were a couple more brands that were waiting to hear the outcome of the case so they could figure out how to proceed, and Marvel was one of those such brands. But unfortunately for Jonathan, he was found guilty on 2 of the 4 charges that he was facing, and unfortunately this means that he is facing some jail time. Him being found guilty of those charges doesn't exactly mean that the jury believed that he carried out the acts of DV on purpose. During the trial, Grace took the stand and revealed that she had sustained injuries during the argument with Jonathan after she tried to snatch his phone. According to the sources, Jabari has said that she tried to snatch the phone from Majors, who then pried her finger from the phone, grabbed her arm and right hand, twisted her forearm, and struck her head to get the phone away from her. According to the reporter Meagan Good, both of charges related to what happened inside the car and the harassment charges related to what happened outside. He was acquitted of anything having to do with intent. This means Majors was convicted related to Jabari's finger injury. The jury ruled it was reckless but not intentional, but the is for the finger injury. After the jury's decision, Grace's lawyer released a statement saying, "We are gratified to see justice served by today's guilty verdict. Ms. Jabari testified publicly and truthfully. Even though reliving these traumatic events on the witness stand was obviously very painful. We are grateful to the jurors and the judge for their attention and patience, and to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for their hard work and support. Ms. Jabari's resolve to see this case through to the end demonstrates her tremendous strength and resilience. Unfortunately, for every survivor like Ms. Jabari who comes forward to hold their abuser accountable, there are many others who believe that they cannot. We hope that her actions will inspire other survivors to speak their truth and seek justice." Jonathan's lawyer also released a statement where she hinted that they were going to be filing an appeal, and she said, "It is clear that the jury did not believe Grace Jabari's story of what happened in the SUV because they found that Mr. Majors did not intentionally cause any injuries to her. We are grateful for that. We are disappointed, however, that despite not believing Ms. Jabari, the jury nevertheless found that Mr. Majors was somehow reckless while she was attacking him. Mr. Majors is grateful to God, his family, his friends, and his fans for their love and support during these harrowing 8 months. Mr. Majors still has faith in the process and looks forward to fully clearing his name." So yeah, y'all, looks like it's going to be an appeal, and it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this is going to play out and if the appeal is actually going to work. A sentencing date has been tentatively set for February 6, 2024, so they have less than 2 months to file for an appeal. But y'all, hold up, because according to sources, Meagan has dumped him after he lost the appeal. Allegedly, Meagan knows that he's going down after losing the appeal, and there's no way that she's gonna go down with him. The insider claims that Meagan was expected to be by Jonathan when he was declared not guilty by the court, but she never considered what it would be like if he lost. Well, after he was found guilty, Meagan got clowned on social media big time, and she decided to dip before things got any worse for her public rep. And as it turns out, she's not the only thing that Jonathan has lost after the trial, because he also lost his contract with Marvel. Marvel Studios has parted ways with Jonathan Majors, the actor cast to play Kang, the central antagonist of the multiverse saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, after he was convicted on December 18th of 2 misdemeanor counts of harassment and assault of Grace Jabari, his ex-girlfriend. A source close to the studio confirmed the decision to Variety. Yeah, y'all, Jonathan is losing a whole lot of money. Is he gonna be broke? Well, fans had a lot to say about the situation, and they left comments saying, Meagan Good is a clown if she's actually dating Jonathan Majors. This man is clearly trying to get support of black women or people now that his career looks like it's about to go down the drain from messing with a Becky. Meagan Good really stood 10 toes behind that man and gained absolutely nothing. No new roles, no Hollywood press, just courtroom vibes and an abusive ninja with the bell pepper nose. And Meagan Good traded in church service for prison visitations. Y'all, this situation is wild, but y'all gotta let me know what y'all thoughts are in the comments, and then check out this next video.